Yo, this Minnesota Cold Talk Podcast. What's happening? Let me send these invites. Today is Wednesday. Y'all know what we do on Wednesday. We talk that talk, man. We talk that talk. And then today we're talking about, on Wednesday, we're talking about mental health, depression, and things like that. I was just reading an article, man, that kind of just blew my mind, too. I want to talk about that and see why people ain't speaking on it and things like that, because I think it's something that need to be talked about. I don't think people I don't think when people really worry, they don't do like they research on certain things that we gotta be looking up. And when everybody get up in here, we're gonna talk about mental health in the community, not just in the black neighborhood, but in just all around Minnesota. Period. You know, they only did the studies. I think it said on white males. I think it said, and I think they said like 10% of the white males are being treated for some type of mental disorder, and 70% of them have not been diagnosed with no mental health, but being treated. So yeah, let me get everybody up in here. For right now, I'm trying to bring everybody in. It was good. Oh, okay. Whenever you feel like coming in, you can come in though. Because this discussion gets like kind of deep. I ain't gonna hold you. Certain people like to talk about it, certain people don't. You know what I mean? I respect it. Every time I try to search for Michaela, I never see her. I don't know why. Yo, shouts out to Trey Akins. How you doing, mama? I don't know why I can never send Michaela an invite. Yo, what's good? Okay, there you go, Michaela. My bad. And for some reason, I can never find your name. When I search, I can never find your name. Tracy, if you want, you can come up too. Michaela, what's good, mama?
What's good?
And I was, hey, you know what? You know what? After I got off the phone with you, cause I was reading about health issues in Minnesota. Do you know they don't really do surveys on black males with with mental health issues?
I can believe that.
Yeah. What I was reading was they did a study. Hey, yo, Squishy, you can come up if you want, mama. We talking about mental health and things of the community, not just our community. You know what I mean? Just all over. We're gonna just have a big discussion. You know what we do on Wednesdays. And we have an open topic at the end, too. So if you got a topic or something you want to talk about, please put it in a comment and we will hit that joint tonight. What's going on with you, though, Michaela?
Nothing. Just had a long day at work.
Yeah, me too. I just got off, too. Don't your job help on, like, mental health and things like that, too? She said,
Yeah.
hey, y'all.
Yeah, I had to clean off my camera. Yeah, no, my job. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. Like, we got job counselors. We got we do like classes there. It's mainly in the building I'm in. We do treatment and therapy there. So we help people with their mental health, and we do treatment. They help with housing, but a lot of people think that they can get into the housing just by calling, and it's really hard to get into our housing. So everything goes through the county, and then they refer people to us. But the main thing that we do in our building is our treatment for chemical and mental health.
Or the people who you get in, they're kind of like ashamed. They don't even want to go, do they?
No, I mean, we get a lot of people that come in off the street that want help. But then you do have some of those people who are brought there through CPS probation or Their family members drag them in there. But the vast majority of our people that's there, or they came from prison. But the vast majority is they come and line up at the door and be getting in. You muted.
When we did our last night show, I talked about an incident of a girlfriend of mine, not a girlfriend, but she a friend and she dope. She was shot, man, by her friend's son who had mental issues, man. You know what I mean? And he been denying help, and he been denying help instead of them.
How old was her friend's son?
Man, I think he was like 17, 18, 17 years old.
So a lot of that stuff comes from the parents being in denial and not getting their kids no help at an early age. A lot of that stuff, you can see that something's wrong with your child at an early age, but people are so scared to go get them checked out, get them tested, get them evaluated, because they think that the doctors is going to push medication. That's basically the doctor's job, is to push medication, but it's up to you, the parent, to opt out of that. You can tell them, I don't want to try medication. Let's try other ways of treating my child, because as a child, they grow up and then they got to make the medication stronger. Then they got to get a stronger dose. And what happens when they cap out at that stronger dose? So when my son was diagnosed with autism, I opted out of the medication, and I told him we can work on different therapies with him to work on his autism, because he's still a child. I don't want medication for my child when he can be taught something else through physical therapy, speech therapy, all this other therapy that they do, occupational therapy. Like, they could do other therapies with the kids, but and I'm not saying that not all kids don't need medication, because there are some that actually do need it. But that's why I think a lot of parents don't get their kids looked at, evaluated, or tested, because they don't want to put their kids on medication, when in fact you are their primary provider. You can definitely opt out of the medication and try other options. There's always another option to help your child, but um, a lot of people they don't know. They ignorant to the fact of what's going on, and they feel like, oh, if I put them on medication, it's gonna make my child this way, it's gonna make my child that way. That's not always the case. And there are some kids that actually do need that medication, but people don't want to get their kids tested because they feel like ain't nothing wrong with my child. Ain't nothing wrong with them, and it do be something wrong.
Well, look, let
Like
me ask
with
you
my
a
kids,
question. How do it when kids, like, I'm talking about younger kids from the age, I say, to 10 to 18, right? Is this something that parents don't see as younger than that, or is this just something that can happen? Like, how did this happen? Like
with my son, when I found out he had autism, we found out when he was 2, and that's because he had an accident where he was burnt by some hot water, and when he was in the hospital, for 2 weeks and didn't make not one sound. He didn't cry, he didn't talk, he didn't do nothing. The entire 2 weeks he was in the hospital, and the doctors thought that maybe we should get him tested, because they was like, that's not normal for a 2-year-old. They're gonna at least cry. He didn't do anything. He just sat there and just looked at them every time they came in the room, or every time they did anything with him. So we had him tested, and I'm one of those parents. Me and his dad was in denial at first, like, nah, ain't nothing wrong with my son. They just trying to label him because he a black man. But at the same time, I let them put him in early childhood learning, like school, and because they noticed he wasn't talking. Like, he wouldn't even, like, if he was thirsty or hungry or something, he wouldn't talk. He just point. And so when he started going to school, they just started teaching him how to talk and stuff. And we still opted out of the medication. And he was taught early on, like, how to function and how to do things. But I think that's what it is. Like, you can know, some people know, but that's why they have you test your kids before they turn 4 and 5 years old, just to see what's going on. Because if you catch it early, it can be not so much as turned around, but it can be tolerable. They learn how to, deal with their emotions and things like that
ain't
when you
that a
catch it
different type
early
of
on.
that's a different type of mental health compared to a bipolar or something like that, right?
It is. It's all along. It's all within, like, that same spectrum.
Somebody might
Um,
mic sound crazy.
That's Emily.
Tracy, you at your mic here anymore?
That's Emily.
Emily driving. Emily, you good?
Oh, she hung.
She probably tried to mute it and left out.
Yeah.
Let me get it back in. Yeah, but
But no, like
so
a lot of that stuff, like even when they say your child is bipolar, like I honestly like, and I don't know, people may disagree with me, but I don't think that you can find out that a child is bipolar at 4 or 5 years old. They
okay,
might try to
that's what I
tell
want
you
to
that.
know. When is a good time, or what if you know the signs? What are the signs? Because I know people who didn't have like a bipolar episode until they was almost like 26, 27, almost in their 30s. I know people in their 40s just now having episodes. Like, what is this?
I don't really know what the signs of bipolar is. A lot of times it can be something that happened to them traumatic that made them bipolar.
Or stress.
Yeah.
Being an adult, I don't think a child has enough responsibilities. Kids are just either deemed busy, bad, or overactive. I don't think at that age, kids, you can really tell what is really wrong with a kid unless it's severe.
Right, unless they had like some traumatic experience,
I don't want you
then they
sitting
can
by
start
me. You're gonna
diagnosing them
bug
with
me.
different things.
You gotta mute out, Squishy.
Do they and that's why that's what bugged me out. Like, how do it just happen like that? All of a sudden they're scared, they're thinking something going on, just out the blue. You know what I mean? That's
I
what.
think with a lot of parents though, like when kids get diagnosed like that at a young age, a lot of it has to do with either they were born to a parent that was addicted, that had an addiction, and so they test them to make sure that they don't have anything like learning disabilities and stuff, and then they do test them like that and figure it out, because you never know, a child born addicted to crack, heroin, alcohol, anything, they have some type of disabilities, and sometimes it don't come out right away.
So, Emily, have mental health or anything like that ever affected you in any type of way or anything like that, or anybody around you that you love?
Yeah, all my people got some form of mental health. They're not being treated for or haven't been diagnosed, but you can tell. I mean, you can tell. So, but as far as like personally, the system tried to affect my family with mental health, but we didn't accept that. We didn't claim it. Like I tell y'all all the time, they tried to get me to medicate my son because, you know what I'm saying, the school system chose to put him in the same situation as a child that had already been diagnosed. And this child that had been diagnosed,
My phone don't never work.
Squishy.
You
gotta mute your mic, sweetie.
My bad.
That's okay. But yeah, they literally wanted me to medicate my son, and if I had went along with, their plan, just so they can keep, just so they can keep my son under control versus teach him, because they got several other students that they're trying to teach at the same time. They could have screwed my son up, but thank God I do better, and so I did better, and the outcome is great. But it ain't, a lot of people don't have that option.
Do you know that they don't have a number of a percentage? They don't have a percentage or account that they do for African Americans. Did you know that in Minnesota?
Like, what you mean?
First, I want to say shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody who's jumping in. Tracy, Nicole, Ruth, Squishy, everybody who's jumping in. I really appreciate it. Reese Cup is in the building. Hey, you guys, if you guys want to speak on this subject, hit us up in the comment section. Say, hey, I got something to say, or write a comment. We will read it out. You know what I mean? You will not go unheard on this show, or we could bring you on the panel. But I was reading like a statistics and the stats, and they did a study on some of the white males in Minnesota, where they said 10% of the white males in America are diagnosed with some type of mental health issue. 70% of white males are being treated for mental and something health, but they're not diagnosed. They didn't diagnose it, but they're treating them as if. They say African American studies should be more studied. Like they want to study more of it, and that's what kind of throw me off a little bit. Like, why ain't they checking that? Because when I go downtown, I see a whole bunch of young brothers walking around mumbling. You know what I mean? Like, something's not right. That's kind of weird that they don't have a study, or maybe I didn't look in the right place. So if anybody see any stats or something, please post it if I can read it.
And that's
Well,
probably because they don't want to get tested.
and we handle things differently. Our culture handle things differently. We tend to deal with our own kids when it comes to mental health. We tend to try and figure out how to deal with our own kids versus, I would say, white people. They take their kids in to see doctors, therapists, and then put them on medications. Then they end up in group homes. I say that because I see it. I say it because I've been told by young white people that say, look, don't give your kids these medications. Don't do that. You're going to mess your kids up. I had a 19-year-old that told me that when my son was going through what he was going through. And like I said, it wasn't my choice. I gave my son an option. When my son came to me and said, Mom, I want to try it because I do feel like I'm overactive and my mind races and I can't sit still. When he came to me and said, Mom, I want to try it, I let him try it. That was his choice. I gave him a choice. I didn't put it.
That's a form of ADHD.
Yes,
yes. That's a form of ADHD.
No, that's what he was diagnosed with.
Is that mental health though? Is ADHD mental health? That somebody just hyper?
It's like a behavior disorder.
It can if it's not.
Yes.
If it's not treated or
anxiety,
or if it's not understood. I mean, if you just let it go and you don't know what's going on with yourself and you don't educate yourself, then it probably could become a mental, because you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's like, why am I feeling like this? My son would ask me that when he was younger. Why, Mom, why do I feel like this? But it wasn't until after the medication that he started asking me, why do I feel like this? Like, he was good. He was like, he could deal with the overactive. We just put a ball in his hand. There's ways to treat anything without these medications that they giving us out here.
Ain't there another name of it too, or am I bugged out? Ain't it ADHD and ain't it
ADHD,
ADD? It's
which
I
one
know
is
the
ADD?
terminology.
What is that? Hyper deficit disorder or something like that, right?
I think that's a shorter
hyper deficiency.
Yeah, that's ADHD. That
I don't
attention, hyper deficit, some shit.
Yeah, attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, I told them to go on. Y'all can go ahead and go to hell.
But how about the my bad, Squishy, I'm passing you up. Have your people ever been affected by any mental health or anything like that?
My brother was diagnosed with that. He's 27 now. He was diagnosed with that when he was like 3.
3 years old?
3, 4.
But
that's
what?
Only reason why is because my brother is, well, I ain't gonna say 3 or 4. I say he was diagnosed officially with it when he was 6.
Twan was 6.
Yeah. My brother was 6, but my brother is a natural, he has natural energy. We all do because my kids got it. But he was diagnosed with ADHD, and they try to give my brother like the patches and stuff. But my mom, being who she is, she like, hell no. She tried it, but after she seen that it helped him, but it made him like sad, if that makes sense.
Made him into a zombie.
Asking questions of why he's feeling like that. She's like, hell no, I ain't finna get my son into no more. But then they tried to play that role with him being in school. after she stopped with the medicine, they try to make it seem like now he's just out of control. No, he's very active, and y'all not giving him shit to do. That's the problem.
I think that's what
Y'all
it
not
is.
giving these kids nothing to do, and y'all making it seem like they just can't sit still. Unfortunately, not to be talking about white people, but those are the ones that medicate their children for them to sit down because they don't know how to deal with them. Us as Black people, a lot of us don't want to deal with our kids. Let's just get that out there for real. Nah, dead ass. Because that a lot of parents, if you Black, you should know better not to give your kids that shit. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us have given our kids that shit and continuously do it. It's just more of the way white people deal with their kids. We don't deal with our kids, and sometimes we don't know really what to do with them either, but we on a whole different level than white people. White people will give you medication, give you drugs, give you alcohol, give you something that you can insert into your body for you to figure out what's going on with you. On the other hand, us Black people, we use our minds, and that's where I think mental illness comes in at too as well, because sometimes you be such survival mode while being in this mental fucking state of mind with all these different people around you who also have mental issues and not recognizing it or doing anything about it, and it's growing onto you. So now that you're growing up trying to find yourself and figure out what's, you know what I'm saying, how you want to be, it's like you watching all these other people and then you watching yourself, and then you just like, you all over the place now. You know what I'm saying? And then you might be doing stuff out of nowhere, like, what the fuck? Like, you not even thinking about that you did it. Maybe you just smacked the shit out of Samantha and don't even know how and why you did it. But in your mind, you know what I'm saying, you're not thinking like you need help. You're more thinking like it's cool until, you know what I'm saying? And then that's when our until is right now. It turns into a mental illness or a mental health issue. You know what I'm saying? The ADHD crap, that was for white people. That was never for us. They just put it upon us when they want us to act right, if that makes sense.
And I ain't gonna lie, in the 80s, we didn't have none of that shit.
Period.
Like, I just
Period.
now find out some of my cousins, some of my play cousins was retarded as hell, or they were just autistic. We didn't know they could take a punch.
We can't say the R word.
Oh, I say remedial. See, I know these words.
You say it's fed.
Well, same thing. Sped or fed up, it don't matter.
Hold on,
You stupid.
Let me shout out my best friend. Hey T.
I seen it.
I'm your goddamn best friend.
This is my 20 plus years best friend from Chicago. She watching us, y'all.
Shout out to TT. She in the building.
Shout out to T. Shout out to T. She ain't me. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Ruth said something that sparked my attention, and so did somebody else in here. Ruth said, I had a friend in high school who would put on meds for ADHD, and she said she felt like she had no soul. That took all your energy away from you.
Because you don't know who you are, and then you put that shit all in the mix of it of trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, what the fuck?
It take all your energy away. That's how they want to settle you down. Yeah. But back in the 80s, we didn't have that. The crazy kids play with the regular kids.
That's because we had a belt. We had belts.
Crackhead like that to sit down. It ain't gonna work.
Hey, shout out to Ruthie. I love Ruthie because Ruthie actually experienced this. She can speak from experience on this.
You come up too if you want to, Mama. We're gonna after a while we're gonna open up the panel, so you know you're more than welcome to join. Hey, but you know what though? Let's speak on this real quick, man. And I can't talk about no other culture but my own because I only been in a certain place, right? But in the Black community, I find it that young Black males and older Black males find it hard to either go to the hospital and get checked up, or
no, we just don't. No, they just don't do it because I'm gonna tell you, out of all the men, I've been around a lot of men. They just don't go because they don't think it's necessary. Period.
Fact.
They want to hear from no dead ass.
They scared of finding out that they got a terminal illness or something. That's why they
don't care about
nothing wrong with me.
Or they PP gonna fall off.
They not caring about none of that. They
don't. But we gotta break that cycle because shit, I'm at the age now. They talking about prostate exams, and I'm like, hold on, man.
But they knew that already. So now you know if it's gonna be a prostate later in life because they even made that joke in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
If you So if you know about prostate, why would you, as a black man, because us women, we do it when we hear certain things, our mind go wandering off on other things too. Like, what if this could be in that? Why don't y'all do it? Why don't y'all do it?
We got to start doing it now, though, because not
How
only
can
that,
we do that? That's a question. How
well,
can
we
we
got to,
help do
we
that?
just got
Because y'all
to,
not gonna do it alone.
well, we got to understand, like, man, we dying now, or we having certain diseases now that we dying, but they got the medical technology is so advanced now that they can catch it and you can get and can live and be cool. But not only with health issues, with mental health, or they've been depressed or overthinking, people find it hard to go and get a therapist or something like that. My therapist is my mother. I call my mom, she put me out straight. Boy, shut up, she get to me. But a lot of people don't have people to talk to, you know what I mean? And after a while, you only can take that so long to grow up.
They just don't have the right people to talk to. And the right people to talk to, they're scared to talk to because they don't want to be in denial. They want to stay in denial. They don't want to be in it when you talking to them about it because they know you care. But they don't want to hear it. Like I said, I'm saying it's gonna have to take a lot of men to be in one room for us to figure out how can we help y'all because y'all not gonna do it by yourself. And that's with every man.
Did y'all see the comment from Ashley? She said her brother was put on med. One of y'all, you want to catch that, Michaela?
Ashley said my brother was diagnosed with it. He wouldn't take his meds and he was raging through the streets. My white mom got the meds court ordered. He came to be a successful international basketball basketball player. He said meds were the worst thing ever though.
So
she said basketball
can you make that make sense for me? Because I didn't get that.
I'm guessing she's saying he was diagnosed with ADHD and he was on the medications. And
that's exactly what happened. She put him on the medication, and once you give it to him, you got to continue to give it to him.
True that.
If it's in their system and in their bloodstream, it's done for. That's why my son took it for about a week. I'm like, oh hell no,
But listen to y'all. She wasn't talking about. But hold on, she wasn't talking. I don't think she talking about ADHD. Because when people rage in the street, they talking to each other, they bugged out. That's bipolar. You know what I mean?
No. There's schizophrenia.
Oh yeah, bipolar. Because it's my bad. It is bipolar and then bipolar schizophrenia.
And she said my brother was diagnosed with it. She just said that. It's different levels. And once you get on the medication alters who you are.
I had a stepson. Yep. My stepson was, I don't know what he was diagnosed with, but it had something to do with ADD, ADHD. And his mom and stepdad was like putting him through a lot of trauma, him and his siblings, and he was on a lot of medication. Matter of fact, nope, he was on one medication because when he came to stay with us, he was on one. And I don't remember the meds, but he kept telling us, like, why do I have to take this? I don't like the way it makes me feel. So he stayed with us for about 3 months, and we didn't give him the medication. And he did fine in school. He did, he was doing fine around the kids. And then when his mama came back and got him, she put him back on the medication. And we ain't seen the boy since he was like 11 years old because of the crazy stuff that he'd been through and how he responds and acts. Like he was one of those kids that would like take his sister's baby dolls and stab them with knives and just do the most. And they had him on all this medication, but it's like we didn't have no say so what was going on because at that time he was in CPS what is the word I'm looking for? Custody, CPS custody. So there was nothing we could do about it. And I'm like, we should have caught it a lot earlier, but his mom was on BS with us.
Shout out to the parents who do pay attention to that.
You should have reported her ass.
No, shout out to some parents don't want to do it, but some parents do it. Shout out to Diamond, aka Diamond. Her daughter had an episode, man, and she going through something with her child, And I thank her for sharing that with us, because in the Black community, we don't tell each other business. And that's the problem. You don't know who you talk to that got the connection to put your kid in the right position. We be so scared. We be like, shit, ain't nothing wrong with him. Don't keep bumping his head in the wall. Something wrong with that boy, you know what I mean? But we can kill that shit.
But we got to be careful also, too. We got to be careful on what our kids are being taught in school. My son was taught that behavior that he started doing, because my son he a runner. So you know, Twan, he was bad, but he was a respectful kid. My kid, he was always respectful. First of all, they said
he was always into shit.
Yes. First of all, they said he had a speech problem. I understood my son.
Right. Man, only mothers. Hold on, I don't want to cut you off because you know I love you, my girl, my baby pearls. But only you mothers understand these damn kids talking like, he said he wasn't like,
okay. Now wait, you're right. You are right. I was in the beginning. Me and the people around us were the only ones that understood him in the beginning. But I knew that's normal shit. They take normal
because that's your child.
It is because all kids don't learn the same. All kids don't start talking and walking and pissing in a potty at the same time. And
yeah, but what do you mean by what do they mean by he wasn't talking right? Like he wasn't talking at
all. First of all, he talked too fast, so they couldn't.
Yeah, he was talking fast.
That's all.
He fucking talk fast.
That's all.
That ghetto ass nigga.
Hey, one day when he was a baby, he woke me up. He said, "Dad." I said, what the hell? That boy had to look for bread like this.
Hold on, let me read this comment real quick. TT said, my nephew is on medication at 6, and he is defecating on himself. CPS is stating he can't come to school unless he takes the medicine. That's deep.
Okay, so let me finish.
CPS, you mean Chicago Public Schools?
Yes. Let me finish.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a point behind what I was saying. The school systems are putting our children's, and not that it's a bad thing. I don't want kids to be left out or feel like they are different. But when I was in school in Chicago growing up, if you had behavior issues or anything other than you came to school to learn, you was in a separate classroom.
Mommy, my iPad.
Now, let me say why I think that's not such a bad idea. My son, again, he was very active, and they said, okay, that we can't really understand him. Okay, we got past that. He started being understood. There was this little boy. I tell this story all the time. This little boy in his classroom, a young Caucasian boy, about 6 times his size, and he kept picking on Twan. And he would pick on my son, and he would do different stuff, and he would get away with it. Oh, Timmy, go lay your head down. You can go lay your head down. Or when it was time to go take tests or do something, he would get to go to another class. My son like, oh, hell no. Nah. I want to be just like that little boy. I'm finna do the same thing. I'm going to bump my head into the wall, and they're going to let me lay down. I'm tired any damn way. Our kids are learning. They're picking these habits up from kids that really have these habits. And they're bringing them in because these kids are being treated differently. If I can go lay down and go to sleep during class and not get in trouble for hitting somebody, that's what I'm gonna do. And that's what he did. But see, he had a parent that said, I'm gonna whoop that ass. I'm gonna be on every beck and call. As soon as the teachers call me, I'm at the school. Me and his dad, we picked up where a lot of parents don't understand. It's not the school's responsibility to make sure your kids are okay. At the end of the day, it's the parents' responsibility. So if we hadn't stepped up the way we did, they still be feeding for medicine. But because I quit jobs, I did whatever it took to make sure my son did not misbehave. Every time they call me, can you talk to Antoine? Y'all put him on the phone. His whole behavior changed. We not going. We got to step up as parents. That's the first and foremost. Don't stop letting, just because you want to, the school tell you something is law. It's not law. It's not law.
Yeah, I respect that, but it's certain, that's certain thing that can be managed. When you messing with somebody that got like a fucking bipolar thing, ain't no, you can't whoop that out of them. That's something that just can't. They be cool one day, they might bug out. For
but
real.
How do you recognize that in a kid, though?
That's what I want. That was the initial question. Like, how do we know this? Or is it just because they always be like it's a chemical imbalance. It's something with the dopamine in the body or something too much, or your body producing too much something. That's why with a lot of people, that's what is it called? Is it called a manic, or what is it called when they just go crazy and shit? They get to cut themselves. A manic depression or something like that. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, manic.
Or something, they cut themselves and stuff, and then they do something that don't come along into the later years. But what made me ask this question, like, how do we identify this? Because of Diamond, her daughter started like pulling her fingernails off and stuff like that. So it's like, yo, if that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm mind boggled about that.
Can I ask a question? So,
yes, please.
We want to ask what happened to cause to trigger, because I deal with people with mental health. There's triggers in your life. There's a trigger that triggers this. Because it's something that's unrecognizable in the beginning, and then something triggers it. So we need to start figuring out in our own households what's triggering our kids that's causing them to have these up episodes, or even causing it to come out, because a lot of us aren't checking ourselves. A lot of us aren't checking our households. A lot of us ain't checking our dating situation. A lot of us ain't checking our kids, our mental health, to be able to control our kids or help our kids' mental health. So I really think a lot of it starts at home. Parents not being parents.
And I also think, to add to that, is a lot of times when your child is diagnosed with bipolar or paranoia, schizophrenia, anything like that, sometimes it comes from the parents. Sometimes if you got it, 9 times out of 10, one of your kids is gonna have it. So you would know, like, you just got to pay attention to the signs. Like, if you know for sure your child is not acting normal, then I would take them and have them tested, have them evaluated.
Kiana,
and then
do
your own research on what you can do, the triggers, because like Emily said, the doctor's gonna tell you what they want you to do for your child, but you got to do your own research to say, okay, well, this is a trigger for a child with bipolar. Okay, well, let's make sure that we not do this around him, or not do that around them, or make sure we do things. You got to make things a little bit more easier for them. If you know for sure your child has some special needs, you do have to sometimes change certain things in their environment.
Medicine isn't the only answer.
That's what I'm saying. Medicine ain't the only answer. There's different ways you can do things. Take your child on a walk. People don't want to do that, but sometimes them walks are very refreshing. If they're refreshing for us adults, they're also refreshing for those children. People don't think of that.
Funny you said that.
Don't, huh?
No, it's crazy you said that. Do you know a lot of mental health issues? They're doing exercises now, yoga, walking, like you said, and exercising can calm down a lot of mental stress and things like that too, man. That's from the body accumulating too much stress, and once you start exercising, you start sweating all some of that toxin out. A lot of people get better after exercising.
But a lot of people also don't think that, oh, he a kid, what he got to be stressed out about her, what he got going on. When they see their parents stressed out, if you are a parent and you get stressed out, your child is stressed out too.
I was gonna say,
they want to know what's going on with my parent. So
I was gonna say the same thing.
So yeah, that stuff, they get stressed out. And I grew up where they said, oh, you a kid, you ain't got nothing to be worried about, you ain't got no bills to pay. But if I can hear my mom and them saying that they stressed out about these bills and they don't know how we gonna eat next week, well, yeah, I'm gonna be stressed out too. Like, dang, I ain't gonna get no food next week.
We gotta mute our mics.
So our kids get stressed out too. They deal with bullying at school. They deal with teachers acting funny towards them at school. All that stuff stresses them out. Like, and people don't think of that. Yeah, they got stuff to be stressed out too. So we got to start taking care of them just as well as we take care of ourselves. If we don't take care of our self-care, how will we show that to our kids to maintain
and just know
their mental health?
And just know your kids carry your mental health with them.
That's
they see, they hear, and they pay attention. So that's important. I think that's a trigger.
We got a lot of comments too.
I'll catch them.
Shout out to Red. Red in the building. The beautiful Red is in the building.
All right. So therapy and testing,
Man,
Kiana
in the
said.
building.
Therapy and testing, Kiana said. The doctors can test for it. TT said you can see some signs. Ruthie said self-harm has nothing to do with a manic episode. I mean, it can happen during a manic episode, but not only in a manic episode. I don't know if I read all of it because comments are still coming in, and for some reason everything's literally hiding the comments.
We got a lot of people in here right now. Shout out to everybody that's here. We got a lot of people.
Kiana said also some of the things are genetics. I agree. That is yeah. Mental health runs deep in my family, but I'm the only one diagnosed with bipolar. Probably because you're the only one that seek that help. The beautiful Red said, "Hey family." Ruthie said, "Trauma runs deeper though. Trauma gets mistaken for mental illness all the time. I will repeat this till I'm blue in the face. Trauma just triggers it. It's not mental health, but it definitely triggers your mental health episodes. I've learned that from, again, working in the group homes. That's in all of my clients' books. It's their trauma triggered them to even be diagnosed in the first place. She said, trauma gets mistaken for mental illness all the time. I will repeat this till I'm blue in the face. She said, "Hey, Red." TT said, "Can y'all expand this talk beyond y'all city? I would definitely share your podcast." We all over. We in Canada.
I just texted. We're everywhere.
Everywhere, love.
We're in Africa. We're in Ghana. We are in Nigeria. We are in we're in Finland. We're in Greece. We're in Germany.
We everywhere. Sosa, damn.
Yeah, everywhere around the world.
You about to name the whole globe.
Yeah, but what she was really, I understand what she was saying. She was just saying because it says Minnesota Cold Talk Podcast, it's because we're in Minnesota. And I'm thinking about taking.
And we're also speaking from what we're experiencing here in Minnesota. That's why the panel opens up for everybody to speak. We can only speak on what's happening in Minnesota. I think that's what she meant, because we were saying certain situations and how things, like, because I think she was the one that mentioned CPS and how they, force things. Chicago, totally different than Minnesota.
And that's what we want. We want people from different cities to come in. I might take the Minnesota off and put Cold Talk.
Nah, don't change no names. We're not changing no names.
Hold on, let me get this out real quick, right? The thing about the podcast on Facebook, it is Minnesota Cold Talk Podcast. But once we start going to YouTube and things like that, I might just put it at Cold Talk Podcast, because it's not a live video. The live is from Minnesota. The videos is Cold Talk. You know what I mean? So I might just put Cold Talk this or Cold Talk Podcast that. But I don't know. We still working on what we're doing. But definitely we want to know what's happening in other states and stuff like that. And that's why y'all need to start joining the panel, because it's open to everybody.
Okay, I'll finish reading the comments real quick. Ruthie said facts, because I know Miss Kiana wants to speak here. She blowing kisses. Hey, my baby. The beautiful Red said, no, not you blowing kisses. The beautiful Red is blowing kisses. And to Ruthie, TT said, I'm speaking on Chicago. Yes, ma'am. We know that. We know you speaking from a point of view. That's why we need you again to come up on the panel and
don't be scared of the panel.
And speak on what's happening in Chicago, because we can only speak on what's happening in Minnesota. And although I was raised in Chicago, like I said, Chicago had separate classrooms. I don't know if they still do, but they didn't subject a lot of us to some of the stuff that, them bad kids went upstairs.
Yo, you know what? Let's keep it real with them. I was one of them kids that had lunch. My class was in the lunchroom. I drank out the toilet for the first 6 years of my life. And look at me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good.
I wouldn't say all that. Please
I was
speak,
gonna
Kiana.
say, we're gonna start. It's live. We can't even cut that. Okay.
Shout out to Ruthie for that
Look, you done
munyon.
left me. I'm sorry, man.
I just happened to jump back in. I'm sorry. It's been a lot going on.
Yeah, it's going good with you, Mom?
It
Yeah.
kicked me out. Ain't no I left out.
I will talk later. It's personal, but it's good stuff. I got some transitions that's happening I've been trying to focus on. But to speak on the subject,
She moving with Bay. Go ahead, finish.
Hold on, we can't do
it's
that right now,
that's what I
y'all.
was
Somebody just said some
podcasting about.
munyon. Shouts out to Ruth said that munyon. Yes, she did. 500 too. Munyon.
But no, what I was saying is you guys were asking about like how do you know? Some things, like we said, some things are noticeable, you know, when your child isn't hitting what they would consider the appropriate marks between, I think they start doing like testing, you know, everybody know your kids should start crawling and walking and they should be developing at a certain level. So when they hit or not hitting certain milestones, as long as you're the type of parent that's taking your child for those checkups accordingly, a lot of times, whether it's a mental delay or development issue, the physicians, your pediatricians should be able to assist you in catching them, because some of them can be caught and be monitored, and you can learn how to deal with them so early that your child will function at as normal of a capacity as possible. For others, though, sometimes it is something that develops really late in life, but things like, you know, frequent urination after a certain age, or, you know, if it's not urination, like going to the bathroom on yourself after a certain age, being super withdrawn, or like overtly, like some people think that, oh, they're like this. Sometimes children are overtly like they're just everywhere all the time. They lack impulse control. Things like that are things that, you know what I'm saying? You could tell when a kid had too much junk food and they just busy, versus a child that it takes so long to get them to wind down at night. It takes so long for them to calm down. They are so overreactive to most everything. That's usually showing that something is not balanced appropriately. So there's testing for it.
Sosa.
What?
We heard all that straw serpent. If you don't mute, I'm sorry, Kiana, go ahead, love.
It's fine. There's testing for it. They do like and I don't know if you know, but like a lot of people, especially young Black girls, get diagnosed with things that we've been dealing with very late in life. I'm actually going to be getting tested for ADHD and ADD. And it took me talking to somebody I knew nothing about, but just her happening to be a therapist and a counselor for Black women specifically, and she was a Black woman. Like, we were just talking, and she was like, "Have you ever?" And I'm like, "No." And she was like, "You know, as a Black woman, we get taught to be this one thing, and so we focus on that, and they never really sit down and take the time to think about the way that we respond to things, or some of us have that need to, like, I can't mess up, I can't mess up, I can't mess up, and you just assume that this person is under pressure, but they have undiagnosed issues. So you have to really look for, there's really no such thing as quote unquote normal, but you have to look for super abnormal things to even go and mention, like, hey, I think I should find out or talk to somebody, for somebody to be able to say, these things make sense, but these things don't make sense, and there are going to be more. I totally believe that we should be putting our younger children in therapy early enough so that they can get comfortable with expressing themselves in a healthy manner. That way, your child is comfortable with saying, well, Mom, I'm sleepy, but I can't go to sleep. Well, why? I don't know. And then you talking to your child and you like, you don't know why you can't go to sleep? No, but I know I'm tired. Now, to the average person, somebody like, just go lay down. But you have to think about, like, have you ever been so busy doing so much and your body like starts to shut itself down? Sometimes it takes that for a child. And if you go into the doctor and you paying attention, and you can ask them like, hey, I don't know what's going on. These things don't feel normal to me. Can you tell me where to get resources to find out if they're normal? And you know what I'm saying? Learn how to treat them. But they do have
They have testing and they have testing, like you can go and get them tested every so many years because they can develop later in life. And there's genetic testing as well as just like sitting down and going through like books and having conversations, and there's all different variations of it. But genetic testing, I think, is one that people don't think about because a lot of us don't have access to both sides of our family or enough history, and everything gets played off in our community as crazy. Oh, they was crazy. Well, were they? Or was there really something wrong? Now we have to be teaching ourselves how to ask the appropriate questions, since we're continuing to bring little people who are going to grow up to be big people in this world. And we want to give them the best chance as much as possible. So it definitely starts with the doctor's office. Like, you got to take your kids in. It can't be just, oh, we got to go for school. Like, you really, really got to be like in tune with your child. My family's always said that a mother usually has a different type of connection with their child, or even the custodial parent usually has a different type of connection with their child. So you're going to start feeling, even if you don't want to admit it out loud, you will usually feel when something is just not right. You know what I'm saying? You can whoop a kid until you blue in the face. A kid with some type of disability, it's not going to change them. All it's going to do is teach them how to, one, lash out later, and two, it's going to give them a higher pain tolerance level. And then you're going to have to keep going. So you have to figure out, like, all right, I've done all these things. Maybe there's really something going on with my baby. And then take that time and be okay with understanding that it really could be.
Can I ask you a question, Kiana? And we're going to change the subject up a little bit. Do you think people that turn it into like transgenders and things like that, or want to change their sex, or the women that want to be men, do you think a form of that is mental health?
No. I think that the only person that knows who and what they are on the inside is that person. I think that some people can be confused based on things that have happened to them. I know a few people that have chosen to do the extreme based on things that took place in their lives personally. But as far as like choosing to switch your gender, I think you know what you want to be and what you don't want to be. And that's just me. I don't think there's a mental health. I don't think it's mental health.
How about you, Emily? Emily,
yeah.
do you think people that want to change their sex, or the women that want to be men and men want to be women, do you think that's a form of mental health?
No comment.
How about you, Michaela? Do you think transgenders and people that want to change their sex, is it a mental issue? Would you like to speak on it or no?
That's a touchy subject for me.
Okay. For everybody in the who's watching right now, we want to say thank y'all for joining. We're about to end the show because they full of shit and they don't want to talk about the issues. So we're gonna
Hey,
no,
wait,
that's
not the top. That's a whole nother conversation.
No, it's not. It's mental health. It's because the only reason I said that because the studies are saying that is a form of mental health.
Actually,
but
okay, I'll speak a little bit on it, but not a lot. It actually
don't do
is.
Don't do it, Michaela. Don't force yourself to do it. I would.
Form of mental health. It does. It's not 100% based off mental health, but mental health does play a role in that.
I feel like the only way it plays a role in it is if you choose not to be true to yourself, because then you drag yourself through a mental place that you have to learn how to get out of. The only time I think anything is related to mental health is when you want to be an inanimate object, when you want to be a cat and a dog or a fucking dresser. Something is wrong there. But because you want to be, or you feel that you're something different, I don't think that's a mental health thing.
Okay, so what? Okay, so what about the them, they, her, she, it, the people because that's a cat, dog. If that's a zebra, that's that right there. You got to be see we taking this too damn far. That's what it is.
Emily.
It ain't mental health. It's the ability to do what the hell you want to do because somebody defending you to say you can be a goddamn zebra. You're not a zebra. You're not a zebra. And you know what? That's why I didn't want to comment. And Sosa, you knew better. You knew better.
No, because the only reason I said that is because, listen, if you ask somebody that question, is homosexuality different between people that want to be transgender or be labeled as a female or she want to be labeled as a man. If you ask the person the question, they're going to say, oh, well, that person might just be confused because mentally they don't, whenever you say anything about mental health and you say mental in it, you can't deny that it is some type of mental health issue. So I was listening to Kiana talk and she said, well, you know, they confused and mental. Right when you say that, you already labeled it some type. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. We rewind the tape.
When you choose or when you feel like you're something else, I don't think a person is.
You said mental too.
Mental health about, I don't, maybe I did and I shouldn't have. I don't believe that choosing to be a different gender has anything to do with you not having the appropriate mental capacity. I do not believe that. The only
you
time
didn't say that. No, you didn't say that. The only thing you said is mentally they're confused or something like that. But whenever you put mental in the conversation of mental health, but you said that.
I say mentally confused because I don't feel like a person is confused.
You said they're
I
confused.
feel like a person is choosing to be who they want to be. I don't think that that's a mental health thing. Where I feel like mental health
right there, you just said it again. You said they're choosing what they want to help. It's not that's mental. You know what you are. I mean, you are what you are. I mean, to change it is something in your mind. That, hey, this is what I'm.
See, I don't listen. For me personally, I think that I would rather not get into this debate strictly because I love the podcast and I think that it will put this. I think that it could cause way too much chaos. But I stand on what I said. You don't know what I feel like on the inside. The only person in the entire world that knows what I feel like on the inside is me. Now, I don't know personally what it is to be a man, but I've never felt the need to want to try and figure that out either. So I can't speak on what a woman who grows up and feels different. You know that you feel different. That's why you hear him say it all the time. I've always known or I've always felt this way. So I can't say that that's a mental thing. That's how you feel. I can't say that. The only time I think that it plays any of changing anything plays a part as far as like being is like I said, when you want to be a dresser or you want to be the carpet or you think you're a dog. I think that's some type of off, something is off, but like feeling like someone else, I don't think that's mental health. But you know, that's the animals and inanimate objects. I can't. That's me.
I want to touch just a little bit. My whole thing about the subject is a misunderstanding. I'm confused. Because if you say you're a man and you like men, why do you go for men that dress like women? If you're a woman and you like women, why are you dating a stud, a woman that looks like a man? I'm confused. I don't want to answer. I don't care to hear the answer. I'm just that's what makes me think that there's some mental behind it. It may not be a disability, or you're not a zebra.
I think
okay, you're just not a zebra. You're not a cow. You are a boy, Damon.
Why is it such a you know what? This is a touchy subject. But all the Wednesday shows are touchy because if we're not talking about mental health, we're talking about police brutality. If we're not talking about police brutality, we're talking about just awareness of women, of something that happen to women. Now, I know a lot of women who was raped or molested as a child and end up growing up having like bipolar outbursts and things like that when it just overwhelming, they just can't take enough, and then they boom, you can tell that they're going out their mind. You feel me? I wanted to ask this question because I seen a man with a red dress on. Standing in line at McDonald's on Marion, you know how like you go to the drive-thru if it's locked. He's standing there, he's snapping out because they didn't want to call him ma'am. He went crazy. You know what I mean? Because they were like, man, move out the way. He's like, man, excuse me, I'm not a man.
Disrespect though. Like think about it. This is why I'm gonna say this, and I'm back out.
Yeah.
If you ask me to address you as X, Y, and Z, that is your right to ask me that. And it don't cost me nothing to respect what you ask. Now, if you ask me to call you something that is truly offensive, like harmful, then I have a right to choose not to do that. What I still have a right to do is be respectful and say, I'm not the person that can do that for you because this is a problem for me. Let me remove myself. But I don't think it's right. If that adult wants to be addressed as ma'am because that person feels like they want to be addressed as ma'am, it don't cost you not a single thing to say ma'am. It don't. The same way that a lot of men don't want to be called bees, it don't take nothing to respect that man's request and not call him that, even if he acting like one.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm just throwing a question out there. You know what I mean? Would you mess with a man that was a cross-dresser, but he's a man? He don't identify nothing but as a man, but he like wearing some panties and a dress every now and then. Would you date that?
Me personally?
Yeah.
No, I would not. I would not personally.
Let me ask you this, Kiana. What if since you're not a parent, how would you feel if one of your nieces or nephews wanted you to address them as that?
I would respect that because I don't believe that that's a problem. Now the auntie that I'm going to have a conversation to understand. Well, okay, baby, auntie can do that for you. Why do you feel like you want me to address you that way?
I'm about to say, I just feel like I'm just my name is Samantha, auntie. You know what I mean? I couldn't accept.
If my nephew hit me with I feel like this auntie, what this auntie gonna do is I'm gonna address you as such. And ain't nobody gonna tell me different. Not the parents, not nobody. I'm gonna address the person that has to deal with that every day in their life the way that they want to be addressed. And for me, you can change your man in 2 years and be like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Terry. Oh, fine by me.
Do you guys, Kiana, let me ask you a question. And I'm not this for everybody. Do you guys find it weird or unusual that now kids under the age of 10 are able to classify themselves as whatever sex they want?
Society. I've been to say this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish what you said.
And no, I'm just saying because now kids are saying, hey, I want to identify myself as this. And in schools, I don't know if y'all know this, and if y'all feeling uncomfortable about this conversation, you're supposed to because it's something we're probably ignoring, and we got to take it. We got to have to talk about it because in a couple of years they're going to start putting a transgender bathroom in between the boys and girls, and they're going to let the kids. It's like you're giving a baby an option. Hey, you can be this, you can be a little girl if you want. So go ahead, Emily, talk about that for me, please.
That's exactly what.
Quick. So I dropped my grandson off today at school, right? And I'm talking to the teacher, and mind you, my grandson's in kindergarten. So I'm talking to the teacher, and this little boy walks up. Mind you, his name was like Adam or something. And I took a glance at him. He had on some purple pants, a pink shirt with a rainbow, and his hair done like a girl. I totally forgot what I was talking about with that teacher. It was like, you know what, I'll see y'all later. Have a good day. And I'm like, wow.
It was a little boy?
He was a little boy.
That parent, that parents are giving them, and I don't know about your household, but man, we do. My mom said we didn't have no choice. You know what I mean? My mom dressed the boys in blue and the girls in pink. You know what I mean? And either it was red or blue, or it was pink and yellow for the women. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I mean, we're not.
So are you saying that colors are gender based? So are you saying that as a man, you can't wear any other color but blue, black, and gray?
No, I'm not saying.
Why?
I'm just saying.
Why can't you
He
wear?
said as a child, he was not given the option.
Nothing to do.
He said as a child.
I heard that.
He's saying as a child, he was not given the option to wear pink.
Why though? What does the color have to do with it?
Because it's a feminine color.
Who gave colors a gender?
You know what?
Society.
So just like society gave boys an option to be a girl. Society did that.
Okay.
God didn't do that.
Still trying to figure out what color, because grown men wear pink.
True indeed.
Was there not a
because they're grown and they can make that choice.
So but the color is still feminine, is it not?
It is.
So when Cameron did it and all the niggas in school was running around wearing pink, were they gay?
I didn't say they were. I didn't say the little kid that wore pink was gay. I'm saying,
but that's what the reason. That's the feminine part of it, is saying that if you as a boy or as a girl wear something else, that leads to this. I'm not saying that children should have crazy free reign. I don't believe that. I'm saying if we stop putting gender on absolutely it's a color. Now, if that baby is going through something, that's for them parents to figure out. It's not up to the school to make that decision to say what that child can and can't wear. But saying that the color pink or the color blue is meant only for when we wear whatever colors we want, it doesn't make the gender.
I think you kind of misunderstand what I was saying.
That's why I was trying to explain it, but she didn't let me explain it.
Yeah,
but also, listen, the point of the matter is Michaela just said the boy had on purple pants or pink pants with a pink, whatever color, with a pink shirt with a rainbow on it. And his hair was done like a girl. That's a whole total, as a kindergartner, where do you get the vision to be dressed like that?
And that's why I was trying to comment off of what she was saying. So what I was saying was, when Michaela said the boy had on purple pants and a pink shirt with a rainbow with his hair done like a woman, it sparked me to when I was a child that my mom only had one girl and the rest of us were boys. She dressed us boys in blue, red, or green. And my sister wore pink, yellow, and things like that, right? So we didn't have our mom say, "Hey, I'm gonna dress you up like your sister." You know, I'm just saying, like she didn't say, "Hey, you can wear your sister's shirt or you can wear that, and it's cool." We was put in the thing that, hey, the boys is gonna be like this, and the girls gonna be like this. Now, what I was trying to say, Michaela, is that Kiana, is that the parents now are giving their kids the option, like, hey, you can look like Samantha, and Samantha, you can look like Bobby. You know what I mean? So I don't know where that's coming from in the parents' mind. And I think the way that you just said it, like, you would be okay if you did have kids or nephews that you could say, hey, Timmy could wear Samantha's shirt and it'd be cool like that. We wasn't raised like my mom didn't give us that option.
You're absolutely right. And you're right. All of you are correct. We weren't raised like that. That wasn't what I was trying to say. I agree that we were not raised like that. What I do stand on is, as a young girl, as a little girl, I did grow up with a little more free reign. I never had the desire to do anything that related to quote unquote masculine or boy things. I just never did. I also know friends that were raised in a house full of men or boys or whatever, and they still never had the desire to do things that were considered masculine or of a boy. So what I'm saying is, only I know what I feel like on the inside. And for the record, Prince wore purple and stilettos and mascara and baby hair was beat down. And everybody know that man was pulling hoes left and right. I'm saying
But he was bisexual though. Prince was bisexual.
Okay.
So that explains why he wore purple
the
suit.
color didn't make him that, is what I'm saying.
But he never said he referenced color because he was just saying that that's what his mom didn't give them a choice. That's what I was trying to explain. He didn't say pink was bad for men to wear. He was just saying that as a kid, he didn't get a choice to wear pink. The parents these days are parents in society, and television is influencing these children's behaviors and their choices. That's what the problem is. It's not what color you wear. You can wear whatever color you want and still be within your manhood. But as a kindergartner, if you're wearing pink, purple, or any of those colors, it's usually not your choice unless that stuff is in your home. Meaning your parents are buying those clothes. If you got a sister and you desire to wear your sister's clothes and stuff, and your parents say that's okay, then that means that's a teaching. That's a teaching.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say.
Right.
Michaela, can you clarify? Michaela,
the color,
Michaela.
it was just
What
the
was
little
his
boy
hair?
had his pigtails and barrettes.
Okay, see, that's what I wanted to ask you to clarify what his hair looked like. What did it look like again?
Pigtails and barrettes.
What about the little boys that had braids and beads on the end of their hair?
Stop it.
Are you saying we didn't have that? Are you saying that there were no little boys in our generation?
I said stop the cap.
I'm asking.
I said stop the cap. Cause I had black beads on my braids.
Oh, but beads are for girls. Beads are for girls.
No, it's not.
Who said beads are for girls.
The same
These
people
ain't for girls.
said pink was for girls.
Who said who was for girls? Barrettes.
Emily.
The beauty
Emily.
supply. The
Emily.
beauty supply said it was for girls.
The
Emily,
beauty
let me
supply
ask you
don't give a
a
damn.
question.
Put it on their head. Tell them.
Is pigtails for girls?
I'm not finna answer that question. I'm not finna do it. Because I'm not finna sit here and act like I don't know the difference in man and woman and none of that. You can make whatever choice you want. You can make whatever choice you want as a parent and as an adult. But as a child in kindergarten, he should not have on purple pants, a pink shirt with a rainbow and barrettes in his head. He's too young to make a choice on whether or not that's what he wants. And if you feel free enough to let your kid...
Okay, and I hear that.
You ain't even let me finish to hear it, but you go ahead.
I'm respecting everybody's opinion. But what I will say is, this is another part of that mental development, because suppressing someone early enough to make them feel like what I like or what I want to do today is not good, or it's going to be a problem for you as my parent, I now don't have a safe space. That's just my personal opinion.
You know what's so crazy to me, Ma, and to hear you say that, is I respect you. You know, it's all love. But our society now with social media, it's really scary to me, and I'm scared for my son and my nephews now growing up, because I feel like as a child, the Most High bless you with a gender, a boy or a girl. A female got what kind of chromosome? The X chromosome, right? So a female guy has a different chromosome than a man. We know that. Before a child is developed in the womb, everybody got the same chromosome before your body and the hormones start changing, and it turns to boys and the women remain women. You know, we know that. But when you're a little boy and you're taught, hey, you can be whatever, instead of what the Most High, I'm not judging on nothing. I'm just saying you should give that child
the truth first.
Just do like
that's when a decision can be made.
Even if we don't want to talk about God, we can leave God out of this. But once you're a boy, a man, you can say, hey, this is what you do, this is what you can do. And you root that to they older. But now society is telling these young babies, I'm talking about 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, we're talking about right now, that, hey, listen, man, if you can be whatever you can be Melissa if you want to. It's your choice. We can't do that, man. We can't let our kids sit them at a dinner table and open the refrigerator and say, you can eat whatever you want. Guess what your kid's going to go after? The sweet shit, the sugars, the sandwich, the peanut butter and jelly, cookies. That's what they're going to choose. We can't. That's why we got to be firm with our children and make sure, hey, this is what you are right here. Once you get older, you can choose whatever, but right now, you know, this is how you supposed to do. We teach our kids how to wipe certain ways. You feel me? You can't tell a girl to wipe to a certain way. She can get sick. You feel what I'm saying to you? So I think that society now is that, hey, everybody is okay. You can do what you please. I think that's I think that's mental. That is mental. As a parent for telling their 7-year-old child, 6-year-old child, hey, you can wear what your sister wear. We put the pigtails. It'll be so cute. I think that's kind of different, man. I'm not judging or nothing. I'm just saying it's not something that I prefer with my little one. You know what I mean?
Read Ruthie's comment. I'll read it real quick. Ruthie said, part of this conversation has me thinking back to the school shooting in Nashville a few days ago. I think there's some correlation. The man, woman, or the she or he or they or it or the zebra, whatever it wanted to be on that day when it walked into school and shot up the school. Why? What was going through?
I'm gonna tell
you know
what was going through his head. His mama let him wear a goddamn purple pants with the pink shirt with the rainbow with the pigtails, and they laughed at him. He's like, "How you let him laugh at me?" He said, all right, my bad.
No, but Ruthie, she brought it up because it makes a good point, but it ain't helping the point because Ruthie was all for this wearing pink type thing, which is fine. Look, don't get me wrong. I don't care what you choose, who you choose to love. I don't believe that we should judge people based off who they love. My biggest thing is I have a 12-year-old child. I have a child that's growing up in the era where they're being taught by movies, television, and all this other stuff to date the same sex. It's being embedded in their heads. It's everywhere around them. It's just, I mean, people, they got more rights than we do. as Black people. I don't even understand it. We get treated like crap, but you say something about a transgender or something, you going
You
under the
cancel.
jail. You getting
They
beat up.
canceling you.
I mean, so it's unfair that this is such a popular thing this day and age.
Life is unfair, Em. I'm not.
You're right. Life is unfair,
right.
but I bet you
Right.
I bet you man won't walk in my house and say, look, you better do as your gender needs you to do. You're gonna have some babies. We're gonna keep repopulating this motherfucker, because that's what they don't want. They want us to stop. They want all our men to be feminine.
Okay.
Because then how can we keep creating?
I got a question, Em. Just answer my question straight out. What if your child or children, what if your children say to you, I love you, Ma, I respect what you're saying, and I'm cool with that, but I don't want children?
Then they ain't gotta have no damn children.
But you just said you're gonna do what your gender need, and they need you to repopulate.
No, yeah, I said that because you're not finna be bumping coochies. You can't repopulate. If you don't want kids, that's a decision. But bumping coochies, you can't have kids like that.
That's
not a
decision, though, Em.
Right, but bumping coochies, you cannot repopulate. You cannot.
Right.
So if you just say, I don't want to have kids because I don't feel like I should have kids, because most kids don't want to have kids because they don't feel like they have the time, the patience. Usually there's a reason behind not wanting kids besides, I just don't want kids. But you can still be with a man and not want kids. And if the Lord say you gonna have a baby, you gonna get pregnant. But that can't happen if you bumping coochies.
Exactly. But it's still a conscious decision. It's a choice. How I go about the choice is still my business. But that's what made me ask the question. And I think that's a different subject for a different day. And again, one thing I can say is, and it may sound crazy, I don't think anyone under the age of even 21 should be switching genders. But I think that if you feel something different, I don't think that you should be looked down on or talked down about or treated a certain way because that's how you feel. That's now telling me that I have to think and feel like everybody else, and I don't. Now, I do feel like there is this whole trend where everybody wants to be gay or wants to be poly or whatever. I do. But I also feel like it's because now people do have the freedom to be who they might want to be or to discover. I don't think there's anything wrong with discovering it, because if it's an interest to you, you should investigate it. But as for me, I am not interested in it. So I'm
interested in skydiving, but I'm not finna jump the fuck off nothing.
I am, though.
Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a question. What do we do, right? And this is for everybody. What do we do? And then we get off the subject. And I don't want people to think we gay bashing or anything like that. No, we're talking about the children. What do we do now when our younger kids at 5 or 6 years old are going to school and they're mixing the kids that mothers say, hey, Johnny could be Emily. You feel me? And dress them up. And then our kids see that like, hey, I want to dress up. And because kids want to do what the other kids are doing. Is it going to get to the point where
Halloween?
Yeah, is it going to get to the point in the future that all the bisexual kids at the age of 7, because their mothers said that they could be whatever they want them to be? And I'm just being real, because back in when I was in school, there was game banging. You could be a Vice Lord, GD, or Crip. You feel me? You had to pick. Period. You had to pick. So if it gets to the point where you could be a boy, girl, or straight girl, or whatever, are they going to start influencing other kids? Okay, you're going to have to pick.
They've already started influencing the kids.
Oh.
They didn't put the bathrooms in everywhere.
Right.
It's happening.
What you teach your children at home shows up on the outside world. So, to go with what you're saying, if I
not always true, but I give it to you. I respect what you're saying. Not true, but not always true, but I get.
If I let my child wear those purple pants and that pink shirt, and he go to school with a fade instead of a girl's hairstyle, does that change how your child wants to be based on what you're raising them to be?
Well, then let's do it like this, then. And hold on, we're not gonna undermine what you just said. We're gonna keep that right there. I'm going to ask all y'all real quick, and then we're going to get to that. What was you teased about in school? Anybody remember what they were teased about?
I was teased about being fat all my life.
Okay. Michaela, what would you tease about?
I was teased about being too skinny.
Emily, what would you tease about?
Nothing, because I was busting heads.
Fuck out of here. No, you were teased about something.
What
This name.
What they had for him?
Look, I was teased because I always had a big guy.
I was busting heads because I was a tomboy.
Okay, now listen. Now, what did you do when the joke started? And so how did you get around that? What did you do? Did you join them, or did you go to a different group? What? How did you get around that?
Get around what?
Being teased, whatever your
affliction. I told you I wasn't teased.
Okay, you was, whatever. You probably didn't know. They laughed.
Hey man, don't have me tag a motherfucker. I wasn't teased.
Okay, you wasn't teased. You probably one out of the few that wasn't teased.
And
okay.
I didn't tease people either.
Tomboy.
I didn't get teased. I didn't get teased. I got praised for being a tomboy.
Okay, we get it. We hear you. Kiana, how about you? What did you do to counter that when you see them coming? What did you do? Did you join them? What did you do?
I became very mean. My tongue,
so you used aggression.
My tongue vicious as fuck. I told one boy his mom and dad to get away from him.
Okay, but you use aggression. That's what we're gonna say. Okay, how about you, Michaela? What did you do?
I wouldn't say that I got aggressive. Like a lot of people, they thought that, because I was skinny, that they could try to bully me. So I got into a lot of fights, but it wasn't that, I'm being the aggressor. They were the aggressors. I just fought back.
Let me tell y'all why I'm saying that. Because there's two things you're going to do. You're going to be aggressive or you're going to be submissive. You feel what I'm saying to you? Anywhere you go, you're going to either be submissive or you're going to be aggressive, period. You're going to either join them or you're going to cry or you're going to break down. And it's like that in schools. You're that child that's going to get talked about. You're going to run home and cry, and your parents and your people going to tell you to get aggressive, or they're going to tell you to turn the other cheek, don't listen to it, right?
But you just said exactly what I said was the influence in your home is going to make your decision. I was taught we ain't taking no.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm with you. I'm walking right. We're walking together.
That's why he said he ain't going to undermine what you said.
Hold on, let me walk with you. I'm on you. That's what I'm saying. We're walking together right now. So now, since we know that if you're getting talked about, you laughed about, you're going to be aggressive, period. You're going to be submissive or you're going to be aggressive. So now when this little child come to you and say, everybody is doing this, I'm so confused, Mom, I don't know if I want to wear a dress or whatever. It's up to the parents to say, hey, listen, you're after your father. Your likeness is after your father, his father's father, my father. And this is how you're going to be, or this is how you should be. It's up to the parents to tell these kids this what it is. But if we're to the point where we got the submissive parent who was talking about, like, listen, don't let them teach you, Johnny. You can be whatever you want to be. You rock that dress the best way you wear it. Bring it up to the knee. You feel me? It's up. That's what I'm saying. When it gets to the point, it's funny, but it's not funny. You know what I mean? Because if you're telling these kids that, because the parent is telling them, like, okay, whatever, boy, do you. You feel me? We got to be more careful how we talk, or you feel what I'm saying to you? So I'm walking with you, but I'm just showing you this is what it is. The parents is okaying this. And once the parents okay it, now it's going to be a bad thing, man, for real. That's what I'm
teach them that you still have to teach them that their decision is going to have an effect. For every action, there's a reaction. I never said send your baby in blind. I also am a person that I wholeheartedly believe all responses, you're not going to get this much for this much. Sometimes you're going to do this much and get this much. And I personally am teaching my nephews and my nieces, you got to understand that you're going to get a response, and it's not always going to be tit for tat. I'm not a tit for tat person. You come at me at 10, I'm not stopping at under 1,000. When I go, I'm going at 1,000 to jump, period. But you have to be aware that somebody going to probably come back at me at 10,000. So I'm saying set them up to recognize. One, I personally feel like if they're putting children in the room that are doing that, I think you should be teaching your children to be tolerant and respectful. They don't have to like it. They can disagree, but they should be taught how to communicate and be kind. You don't have to be a hurtful person. You don't have to like what I do, but you don't have to hurt me. That's what I said earlier. It don't cost nothing to respect someone's request. But you still need to teach your child that, okay, baby, 90% of the world think you should be wearing blue, red, and green. So understand, and mommy's going to talk with you about this. When you come home or when you tell me, I'm going to tell you, I understand that hurt. Maybe we try something different tomorrow. See how you like that feeling. Because if I tell you to try something different, you try it and you don't like it, you still like wearing the purple or the pink or the dress, that's what you like. I now have to take it upon myself to teach you and help you thicken up your skin so that you are ready. So when you go in this world with your dress on as a young man, you still gonna be like, yep, all of it, and you ain't gonna beat my ass behind it.
All right, let's switch that up because hey, this is probably gonna be a touchy subject when you're dealing with children and sex genders. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I respect. I think that how you choose to raise your child is your business. The only thing I think should be collective is you don't have to be disrespectful and hurtful to get your point across. I don't ever think it's okay to teach your child to be mean or bully because people lose their life behind that. And even in kindergarten, if a child looks different, it's okay to notice that and recognize that. It's not okay to tell them something's wrong with them or treat them badly because it's different from you. And I will never change that.
And that's why for the people who don't understand what we're talking about, we're actually talking about mental health, depression, and things like that, and how the kids can gain mental health or can end up having mental health or being depressed over these decisions that they have to make either at a young age. So we're not going off topic of the discussion. It's just that like these kids are now getting put in a situation where they got to choose their sex gender at a young age when half of them don't even know what the hell it's made for. You feel what I'm saying to you? Like the way son was how old? Like 11 years old? You feel me? That's the time when boys are playing Xbox and doing sports. So they're putting this in his mind. Well, whatever. I don't want to speak about that too long. I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave it alone. But I'm just saying though, like it starts to people get depressed after a while, man. Even when your parents want you to be a doctor, we want you to be a doctor. After a while, a child can be like, damn, I didn't want to be a doctor. I wanted to do this. It can cause some problems in the head, and people can have outbursts. So, yeah, let's talk about let's switch the subject a little bit about mental health, about suicide now. How some of how the younger kids or older people are getting to the point where they're not where they want to be in life and they feel like they don't want to be here no more. What are the signs that the kids now, because more kids are now, the percentage of kids killing themselves is so high now. What are the signs that kids are just not, you know what I mean? Because they be like, he was so happy, I can't believe he did it. Are there signs that we can see and catch?
Yeah, there's some signs you can see. If you notice that your kids is wearing a lot of rubber bands or things around their wrists, like bracelets, a whole lot of them, you know, them little bracelets they be wearing, they're probably cutting themselves. If they're wearing, and I'm not saying that that's just their thing to wear them, but that is one of the signs. If they're wearing a lot of long sleeves, hoodies, you know, things like that, you might want to check their arms to see if they are harming themselves. But then again, there are some kids that are like, I got some weird kids that like to wear hoodies in the summertime. But you still want to do a double check. If your child is being distant, not being around you, not being the same old happy person as they always are, you might want to, you know, check on them and do a mental health check with them.
Also check alone. Because one of the things that I can speak on is I struggled so hard being by myself. I always needed people around me. So it can be, everything you said is absolutely valid, and I have people that have been, but one of the other things is what Sosa was saying was people that are constantly happy, like it's usually a mask. And I said, as a person that has absolutely suffered from a lot of depression and I struggled for a very long time being by myself. My friends, my siblings, my something.
So like I told y'all the last time we talked about this, my son tried to commit suicide last July. We didn't know that he was even thinking that way. He went to work. He was fine at work. The only thing that happened is him and his boss had made him mad, and he got agitated, which he's easily agitated because of his disability. He gets agitated a lot, and they know that. But he went on break like normal, and he almost committed suicide. We didn't know until I picked him up from work. Him and my other daughter were at work together. He didn't even tell her. He went back to work like nothing happened. And I just felt it when he got in the car, like something ain't right. I'm like, you good? He like, yeah, I'm fine. And then he just started crying. And so I took my daughter somewhere and told her to get out. She went in the store so I could talk to him in private. And I dropped her off at home and took him to the hospital because of what he told me. So there was no sign that he was doing anything, that he had thoughts leading up to that, versus I have other kids who have, cut themselves, things like that. They had signs. So sometimes there's no signs. You leaving, Kiana? Oh. Sometimes there's no sign that they're thinking about that. Like he thought about that in a split second.
Kiana, you didn't have to leave yet. Yeah, so when he told you that and he had a normal day, like what did he, not to be personal or anything, but what was it though that triggered him? Muted, mama.
He said that he was stressed out, and he said he didn't even know what made him do it. He just didn't want to be here no more. He felt like he was messing up a lot, and it really wasn't that he was messing up a lot. I think it was just he was overworked, because this is his first job, so he felt like maybe he was working too many hours. He did pick up, some extra hours that pay period. So he was just tired. So he had took a 2-week vacation and got his mind right. And at that point I got him a therapist, started getting him, got him evaluated and everything, just to get him some help, because I wanted to make sure that he was gonna be okay. And then also at the same token, I got my other daughter some help, because of the fact that I knew it would trigger her, because she was at work with him, not knowing that me and my brother at work together, and I could have lost my brother while I'm at work. They work in the same place, they work next to each other, hand to hand, and she didn't even realize what was going on.
Well, damn, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. For real. Anybody that want to jump in, the time you can jump in right now. Um, the panel is open. Diamond, I don't know why you said you wanted to jump in, and then when I asked you, did you want to jump in, you just said no. I don't know. I don't know what made you change your mind. I just want y'all to know, like, when y'all want to jump in, say y'all want to jump in. But in the middle of somebody talking and things, I let them finish before I add you in. So let's have a little patience with us, man. That's all I'm saying. Tracy, you want to come back in? Anybody want to come in? I don't know what happened to Kiana. She probably had to go to sleep or something. But Ruth, you can come in if you want, because I know that you was texting a lot. You could definitely say what you want.
I wanted to say something. You can kind of sense, your kids, like I mentioned before, because we talked about this before, how my daughter was being called all kinds of racist names in the school. She was amongst nothing but white people, and she was being called all kinds of names, and she was getting really depressed. And she lost a friend when she was in 5th grade. The girl just passed away in her sleep. And I took my baby to the funeral. And I don't know if I should have done that, but that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to pay her respects to the little girl, and I respected that decision. But my daughter fell into a deep depression. Um, and I noticed it because I know my kids. Me and my kids are really close. So I was able to notice it because she's never away from me. She's always in my presence. So I was able to see it. And I asked her. I literally asked my daughter, and this was one of the hardest things I think I've ever had to deal with, because my older 2 kids, they hid stuff from me. They hid their emotions and what they were going through until now that they're older and they're dealing with it, as adults. But like, when I asked her, I said, have you ever had thoughts of hurting yourself? When she told me yes, that destroyed me as a parent, because I felt so helpless, like I couldn't help my child, and like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do as a parent to make sure she felt safe, and she didn't feel like because I never felt like I wanted to kill myself as a child. I don't think and if I did, I don't remember having those thoughts. Um, so it was hard for me to deal with that as a mom, to hear my child say that she felt like she wanted to end her life because of somebody else, or something that, that was I would say controllable, because that's how I felt. I felt like the situation was controllable, and it was, because I removed my daughter from that situation. I'm not gonna say she's 100%, but I can tell she's a lot more happier. She's not in a room closed off by herself. She's not talking. She's not, she's a happier kid. So, if you just gotta you gotta pay close attention to your kids, and that's hard to do these days because a lot of us are working. We working parents. We work, and then when we get home, we cook, and it's that little bit of time before they go to bed. So we don't have a lot of time to say, how was your day, or is there anything you want to talk about, or things like that. So we just gotta make time for our kids, especially us. Our coach, because a lot of other coaches, they sit down for dinner. They have dinner at 5-6 o'clock. They sit at a table together. Not every family, but a lot of these families, what I'm saying, they sit down and they eat dinner together. They ask each other, how was your day? How was school? And I ask my daughter that. I ask her that every day. When I pick her up from school, we get in the car. I ask her how her day was. But just that extra step, we got to find time for our kids. This generation, I don't even think it's a culture thing. It's a generational thing, because these parents got younger and younger, and what I'm saying, the lessons got lesser and lesser. Like, we're not even teaching our kids. TV is teaching our kids. Music is teaching our kids.
That's sick too. That's sick.
Media is teaching our kids, and that's why a lot of these kids are making a decision to be different genders or whatever they want to be, because it's being promoted. It's just like a record. It's being promoted like a record. It's being brainwashed. Our babies are being and I don't, again, like Sosa said, I don't care if you gay. I don't care who you love. Love who you love. Love who you love. But at the same time, no kindergartner, no child should be making a decision to be anything but who they are, until they're old enough to make that.
Or they shouldn't be thinking about taking their own life. Period. They should. That's what we need to. That's what we need to really talk to our kids. If you're working a 12-hour shift, there's 24 hours in a day, bro. If you working 12 hours, you coming home. You come on, man. Who teaching your kids? You feel me? So that's why we gotta be real cautious of what's going on around here, man. For real.
Like, what I do, my younger kids, like, a lot of people be like, I don't know how you do it, but me and the younger kids get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, and we go to McDonald's every morning. It's our tradition. Turn that down. We don't get nothing major. We get, like, we order something real small. I spend like maybe $3 to $5 at McDonald's, and we sit outside their daycare for like 20-30 minutes, and we talk. Drink coffee, what we call coffee, every morning, me and the 3 little ones, and then we talk, and then I drop them off. And in the evenings, we eat as a family every day, whether it's over we making sandwiches and chips for dinner, or we eating a full course meal. We all sit down as a family, and we all try to talk about our day.
You want to say anything, Rue? How you doing, Mom?
I'm good. What were we talking about? Like the signs of suicide?
It's an open topic. We can talk about whatever right now.
And you look cute, by the way.
Thank you.
I know. I was gonna say, like, did Ruthie do something different with her hair? No, she got her hair out today.
And she put on some lip gloss.
Lip gloss.
Hey, can I read this comment real quick? I feel like it's necessary.
Go ahead.
He said, that's why you don't expose your children to certain things, but that doesn't happen. Facts. And some things, that's what I'm saying, if you're working 12-hour shifts. And this is why I get mad at some of you women out here, or some of you men out here. If you got a partner, or your child got a partner, a father or a mother or auntie or something, quit feeling like you can do it by yourself because you go to work and you pay, I'm paying it. Man, that child needs to be somewhere around somebody that love them. Kids get left behind in school because your child might learn different from the other child, and the teacher don't got time to just focus on your child. That teacher would be like, okay, whatever, you go drool somewhere else, and worry about the kids that they could really talk to. So your child to be left behind, man. You're at work, man. Let that baby go with his daddy. Let it go with his grandma, his auntie, or somebody. Quit putting your child in front of a goddamn TV all damn day, man. For real.
But
That
that's
shit is
not
big.
always a solution. When you have family members that don't want to be around your kids, or you reaching out asking for help, but they're not there to help you. I got so much family here. I don't have help with my kids. The help that I got, we live all in this house. So
Hey,
it's not always an option. I got sisters. My sister got her own thing going. I got all type of family members, but I don't have the help that I think I should
But you
have.
know what you got going on that a lot of people don't got going on? A fucking right mind. You feel
Fact.
me? You got sisters to wake up in the morning with your kids and sit them down like, hey, how y'all doing? And you got that time to talk to your kids before they go to school. Some people don't even do that.
read
That's
that
what I'm
next
saying.
comment. Stephen said, children should know about sexuality or suicide, but this TV and music shows them not to mention other children too. And I agree with that, but it's
But
like,
he's right.
there's a TV show, it's like a little song on YouTube that kids play, and it's called Dumb Ways to Die. I hate that fucking song with a passion. And I know the music, so I heard my grandson listening to it, and I even told his mom, like, we're not doing that. Because even if it's like it's a cartoony type, little catchy song, I'm like, listen to the words. It's telling them dumb ways to die. It's in the lyrics. Don't let him watch it. And he likes to try to be sneaky because he didn't seen it and he thought it's catchy. He tries to be sneaky and go in a room and watch it on his Nintendo Switch and turn it all the way down so we can't hear it. So I get on him about that, and I tell everybody in my house is on alert about that. So yes, that stuff is definitely in whatever they do. So you definitely have to moderate what your kids are watching.
And
Mixed Ruth.
anything else you want to say, Ruth?
She ain't say nothing.
I don't really know. I don't recall what we were talking about when I came on here. It kind of switched from that.
It's just mental health, depression, whatever you want to touch on. It don't matter.
Oh Lord, I talk about it too much.
I don't think it's enough talking about it. I don't think it can't be enough because a lot of people need to hear it. A lot of people who want to know about it, they're gonna say in the show. A lot of people will be like, okay, I catch the other show. They'll catch the other show, but just speak your truth. You know what I mean? What you seen or some things like that. I figured a way to get through it. You know what I mean? We know how to identify. Are we knowing the ways to identify? You can talk on that. How to identify it and things to help it.
So I'm still trying to learn like what is the beginning of a depressive episode for me. But these are signs that you can watch out for in your loved ones too. It's different for everybody. So like Kiana said, she would always want to be around people or whatever. For me, it would be like I'll get more easily irritated or agitated. Like the littlest thing will piss me off and then I wouldn't be able to let it go. I'll be mad about it 3 hours later still. Like I cannot let it go. What else? Isolating, not wanting to be with, I'm a homebody anyway, but like if I'm not texting you, talking to you, anything like that, answering my phone, that's a sign that something's going on. lot of people, I don't deal with this thankfully, but a lot of people stop showering, brushing their teeth, stuff like that. Like I've never gotten to the point of being depressed that I can't get up and not take a shower. But there are a lot of people that will just not just completely stop taking care of themselves. They'll stop cleaning their house. They'll have, a sink full of dishes, which I've been there. Like I've just like complete lack of motivation. I have a sink full of dishes, haven't done my laundry, something like that. But I mean, there's some people where their house will end up looking like a hoarder situation or something, and they haven't washed their ass in a week, and they're not brushing their teeth or brushing their hair or nothing like that. Like they're not washing their face or anything like that. Like it can get real bad. So yeah, there's a lot of different things to look out for. A lot of times though, it honestly, like, it'll come out of nowhere. And one thing I can say is a lot of people get picked on or made fun of for like going to social media and saying that they're depressed, or like saying something about, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, and then people would just start making fun of them or like making light of it or whatever. Don't do that. Check in with every single time that somebody goes on social media and says they're feeling depressed or says they're going to kill themselves. I don't care if they made 10 posts in the last month that they said they was going to kill themselves. Check in with them, because you don't never know if that's going to be the time that they actually do it. And then you're going to feel like an asshole when you didn't check in with them and they actually killed themselves. Like it doesn't take a whole lot of time just to check in with somebody and ask, are they good? So
Thank you for that, man. And on that note, shit, we can close off the show, man. And these Wednesday talks, man, is for all of us, man. You know what I mean? It could be about whatever people are stressing and going through. And the problem is where we coming from. Like when my nephew was online last night, it brought to my attention like gun violence and just out in the streets, thugging, whatever, man. That brings a lot of trauma, man. It might not do it. It might not hit you now, but later on in life, boy, it might get to you. So everything that we go through that's hard as us can become a mental issue, man. And can y'all hear me? All right, somebody calling me, but finding the right people to talk to, the right resources is critical, man. So please, man, reach out to your family, let them know how you feeling, the older siblings or somebody. Talk to the family member. They're gonna tell everything. They're going to run back and tell your auntie, you know what I mean? So somebody can figure out what you're going through. Michaela got resources. Emily got resources. Shit, call Ruth. Ruth to help you out. She's going to get you through it. You know what I mean? So you find somebody that
don't know me, you can hit me up and I will talk to you. No judgment. Like, I've been there. I understand sometimes you need somebody completely outside of your situation that doesn't know you to talk to. I'll be that person for you if you need that.
That's dope, man. Emily, anything you want to say before we close out?
Not really. I'm tired tonight. I wasn't gonna even join, but I'm glad I did, because this is one of these topics that it never gets old. We can never talk too much about it. Long as everybody understands that we disagree, but and a lot of times we agree with each other. We just agree in different ways. We were not gay bashing, gender bashing, any of that. We were making a point about our children and what they're being taught at a young age, and how their decisions are influenced by so many different things that lead them to be in a confused state. If you're an adult and you choose to whatever sexuality you want, that's your right. That's your choice. You grown. You made that decision. But children should be children. They should be able to be children without making decisions on gender. That shouldn't even be a thing. That's what we're saying. At that age, so we're not gay bashing. We don't hate gay people. I don't care what you do. I know where I'm going. I know what I was brought here for. I know what my purpose is. And if that's not what it is for you, then that's not what it is for you. But it is for me. And I appreciate everybody for being in the audience, their comments. the support that you guys give, not just us on the panel, but each other. We got a dope thing going, and we gonna keep going. So that's all I gotta say.
Michaela, you want to close out and say anything?
Yeah. Mental health is real, and us as adults need to really take care of that. Even if you feel like you too old to be going through this, you ain't never too old to go through some type of mental health. Get checked out. Like everybody said, talk to somebody. Put it out there. You never know who is going through something or who can help you with your issues. If you feel like something that your kids is going through, you can't handle it. And some people feel embarrassed by certain things that their kids be going through and they don't want to talk about it. That's messing with your mental health as well. And if you ain't healthy, you can't help your kids be healthy. So you got to get all that taken care of. And like Emily said, I appreciate everybody that joined and watched the show from near and far. Come back, because we always here.
And cash at me, because just like mental health, you know, when your mental health, you ain't got no gas to get to work. Your mental health, you stressed out. So y'all cash at me $20 so I can get to work the rest of this week.
You fucking silly, man. But Ruth, you want to say anything before we close out?
No.
All right.
I'll post cash app in the comments.
I want to say thank you. And Emily, I forgot about you. I'm going to take care of you.
So you can go straight to helicopter.
No, you know what's so crazy? I really did. You know what I mean? I got you.
You don't have I ever forgot about you?
I know, but I'm gonna tell you why I did though, because in this is you gonna understand. We're gonna talk about this off the air, but yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm talking about tonight too, so I won't forget. Dealing with mental health issues and depression is serious. Everybody that know me know the losses I took, and I was depressed, and I was one of the people. I didn't take a shower or nothing for weeks. My mom snapped. She had to come in my room and go crazy on me. You know what I mean? Like, you can't die. You got a baby. You know what I mean? And I had my daughter. You know what I mean? In 2003. So when my son passed, my daughter, she was at that age, and I had to live for her. I didn't comb my hair, and my hair was long as hair. I was looking like a zombie. I couldn't grow. I ain't had no facial hair. I didn't grow no facial hair until I was like 27.
They said,
but
I was instead of.
I was real fucked up, you know what I mean, with the depression. But I want to give you guys the best thing that what I'm doing right now that got me feeling so fucking good. I'm tired, but I'm feeling so fucking good. You have to work out. Change your diet and work out. I promise you, I feel good. I feel like I got that energy now. I'm feeling great. And whenever I think this is the best thing to happen for me, to change my diet and start going to the gym. I'm in the gym. I'm feeling good. My body's looking good. It's making me feel better. My confidence is going up like crazy. So the people that going out there, you don't want to talk to nobody, you don't have to. Go to the gym. Go work out. I promise you, you're going to feel so good after a couple of days. Once you start seeing the results, and I'm telling you, you're going to feel good. So that's my best advice I can give you. Go ahead, Ruth. I got you.
Last night on the show, when your nephew was talking, I had said something in the comments about getting him into the gym. One, because exercise is amazing for your mental health, and two, it's like boxing or anything of that sort is an outlet, because I'm sure he's got anger, and he has to have some anger and all kinds of different emotions. That's a great way to get your emotions out, is just beating on a bag, so get him in the gym.
Swimming
women too.
The water is very, very helpful.
Working out does something to your blood, you know what I mean? It make your blood, once you start working out, you oxygenate your blood. It's good for the mental. Anybody want to work out with me, man, just hit me up. I'll be at the gym every morning at 7 o'clock. I get up, I walk out the door aggressive, and I take my ass to that gym. So if y'all want to come, I got a membership. You can come with me. I'm up 7. I'm not coming to get your ass, though. I'm going to let you know that right now. But I do got a plan to finish drink. If you want to come rock with me, let me know. And for the women and for the men that want to work out with a personal trainer, Go back a couple months and watch our video with Train with James. He looking for 20 people that want to work out. He giving you a best deal. Not only that, he going to help you with your food and everything. Shout out to Training with James. My man's a monster when it comes to working out, and he know how to work with people. So look him up on Facebook, Train with James, or go back to our old video and watch him. He got his information up there. Go holler at Train with James, man. He's dope. I might train with him tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? He be waking up at 5 o'clock. You know, my shit is 7. He's something different. But yeah, if y'all want to work out and you need a workout partner, come work out with me. You can't be smelling good and looking cute though, because that throws motherfuckers off. Come in that joint looking crazy, and we're gonna get it in. It's time for the party chat. Y'all want to join us? Come on backstage. We're gonna be up in there. I fell asleep yesterday, and y'all down bad. Listen, let me tell you something.
You was snoring loud as hell. I left, and then they said you was snoring. I came back.
I wasn't snoring. Don't be saying that live.
And you was just snoring loud as hell.
Are you serious?
I left for like 5. It had been no more than 5 minutes, and
I bought a bull. That was my bulldog. I got a bulldog.
Within 5 minutes, you was dead to the world.
That's what I'm saying. That was my dog. I bought a bulldog, and I'm gonna give it to my son, so he was real snoring loud.
You
like
look
that.
like a damn bulldog.
That was a bulldog sounded like that. So that
Trying
was
to blast me talking about some Michaela falling asleep, and I was wide awake. And you fell asleep.
Listen,
you down bad.
I bought a dog for my son, a little baby bulldog. He get a little stuffy in the nose, so that was a.
So
don't worry about that.
We on live links tonight or what? Because I missed it last time.
We called live links last night. It was crazy.
I missed it last time.
I had to go to the store. I left the dog in the room, and when I came back, the phone died. So you know what I mean? Yeah. Shut up, Bruce.
Huh? That's what story, and you sticking to it, huh?
Yeah. So come on, we're about to go backstage, man. Thank you for joining.
Woke up at 3-something in the morning talking about you fell asleep.
No, you shut the camera off. No, because the dog ate the homework, and then the doctor had to bill.
And then what happened was...
Yeah, and then the alien invasion, so I had to look up in the... We out of here. Peace.